Up next on Sci-Fi Fantasy, we get back to the basics, tools for lighting your models. Hey everybody, it's Kenny Conklin from SciFiFantasy.com and welcome to another tutorial video. It's been a while since we made a tutorial video, and if you missed any of them, such as removing chrome fast, you can check them out by going to our playlists or following this right here. So today we're going to start off with basic tools that we use during the creation of a model kit using lighting. And remember, this is a basic video, so I know there's a lot of advanced lighting people out there, so this is just to get people kicked into it, and actually this is all I use to light up the models. But if you do have something that you use that I'm missing here, let us know in the comments section below and tell us what it is and how it's used. Maybe we'll pick it up and show it on one of the videos. So today we are going to start out with tools in part 1, and then we'll move on to parts 2 and 3, which will be LEDs, and then part 3 will be how to put them together. So enough talking out of me. Let's get over to the bench and check out the tools. Okay, right now you can see that there's a ton of stuff on the table, and this is basically everything I use, and we're going to go over these tools one by one to let you know what they are and what they do, especially for you guys that are new to lighting up your model kits. So one of the first tools that I have for lighting up model kits is my breadboard. Now this breadboard, you can tell I have a long time because it's from Radio Shack. There's really none of those around. I don't know of any that are left around. But the breadboard, its use is for testing out your circuits, the things that you're building, you're trying to create, instead of getting a circuit board, putting it on there, and then trying to figure it out that way. My circuit board, my breadboard comes on a metal plate with 3 knobs here. I never use the middle knob. I use the negative and the positive. I put my power on there, and then I jump the power into the ports on the side rails. This way we have power down the board. But we're going to show you this use when we get to the part 3. We'll show you how to use the breadboard. But this is definitely one of the items that you should get. This way you can test out your circuits, and they also come in different patterns or sizes. They come separate off of this thing. They come in halves. They come in full ones in different colors. So get yourself a breadboard. So the next item I have is a multimeter. And what the multimeter is used for is to check the voltage on whatever you're running, or you can check to see if you have the polarity right, if you have it forward or backward. If you have it backward, that's not usually a good thing. But what I usually use it for is the power jacks on my bases. I usually pick up power jacks like this, and they don't come with documentation, and they have 3 prongs on the back over here. Now, if I put it on wrong, my power is going to be reversed, or if I put it on one of the wrong prongs, I'll have no power at all. So the multimeter comes in handy to check which way my power is going and if I have power flowing through the jack itself. And again, you'll get to see the multimeter in use in one of the future videos. The next piece of equipment that I use, and I use it a lot, is the helping hands. And it's just a little set of alligator clips on here, and you can move them in different ways, and this helps when you're doing soldering of the wires or tinning wires and stuff like that. If there's terms you're not sure of, we'll be going over that, like I said, in future videos. And since I am getting older, mine has a magnifying glass so I can look down and see what I'm doing. This actually can come off, and then my helping hands can be to the side, and it also has a little holder for my soldering iron. This way I don't get burnt. Also, here is a sponge, a wet sponge. This way you can clean off the tip of your soldering iron. But I've gotten away from using the sponges, and I'll show you what I use next. But let's take a little closer look at the helping hands. So as I was saying, these can be positioned, and then you can lock down certain aspects of the helping hands, and you got 2 on here. I've seen some crazy helping hands with like 6 or 8, but this really does help out with what you're doing. So you can put a wire through here, tin it up, you can hold another wire here, put them both together and solder it. So those are the helping hands. So as I was saying before, I've gotten away from using the wet sponge to clean off my soldering iron, and what I have, my brother put me onto, and it's the Hakko 599B. What it has is a brass like sponge in here that you just push the tip of your soldering iron into it, and it actually takes off all the dead solder and cleans it up. Now this can be replaced. You actually can just pull this guy out. If it starts, you know, you're feeling like you're not getting enough clean in here, you can just flip it around. And I don't know if you can see in there all the solder that it pulls off. It pretty much just goes to the bottom. But eventually you will need a new sponge to put in here, a brass sponge, and you can order them and get them, and it really cleans up your soldering iron. Up next are two tools that I use for shrink tubing on the wires to protect them so nothing damages them, or I avoid short circuits and stuff like that. I rarely use a lighter anymore to shrink wrap anything, or shrink tube I should say, but I do use a Bernzomatic torch. I'm not sure if they make this one anymore, but they do make similar torches, and all it does is, if I can keep it on camera, you just lift this guy up, flick the knob, and you can hear it going, and then I light it in there and I let it burn for a few seconds, because sometimes it does go out, but I don't have a flame now on any of the plastic or anything. And I don't know if you can see in there. Yes, you can. It's a little out of focus, but you can see it just puts out heat and it helps in the shrink wrapping. So this is a nice handy dandy tool for the shrink wrapping. Up next is our soldering iron, and again, as you can tell, this is an old soldering iron. I have it for a long time, and it's from Radio Shack. It does a decent job, but I do need to pick up a new one where I have more control over the temperature. The soldering iron does come with different tips for different applications. You can unscrew it here and pull it out and put the tip in there. But this is what you're going to use to, you know, heat up. You're going to tin your wire. You're going to solder your LEDs and other applications with the soldering iron. Now remember, do not touch this at all once you start to heat it up and solder. This does get hot. Not only the tip gets hot, the whole piece of metal here gets hot too. So you're going to hold it back from the safety handle. Don't be like that crazy meme where the girl is soldering and they have her holding it like this. She would have destroyed her hand. But this is a decent soldering iron for what I'm doing now, but I definitely want to get a new soldering station. This way I have more control over the applications I'm doing. What you see in front of you now is shrink tubing. It comes in different sizes, different colors, and it all does the same job. Some of it's cheaper than others. Some is thicker than others, like this piece here is really thick. I'll never use that, but I do keep it on the side because I don't know. You never know, something may happen. But I do have to order more of this because I'm running out of the most common one, the smaller size. I'm not sure of the dimension. I just buy by the bulk and use the smaller size, but this is the one I generally use for all my wire and shrink tube everything up. And up next, the most important thing in the soldering application is solder. These are 60-40. These are 60% solder, 40% rosin. All three of them, and all three are little tubes that have the solder in there, and you pull it out as you go. I like these. It's like a little pen, so you hit the solder, put it on there, and do what you have to do. They do make them on the little white spools. I'm pretty sure it's in different thicknesses, and most of them, you know, if you look around, I think the most common one is 60-40. Works well and does the job. The next tools up we have are wire strippers, and these are two different types of wire strippers. I prefer one over the other, and I'll let you know why. The first one here is a wire stripper that has different gauge holes for different gauge wires that you're going to use, and you just put it open, put your wire in, and pull the wire off. These are pretty good. They have a cutter here, and it tells you copper only in here, so it's made for copper wiring. But these sometimes are a pain in the neck to use, and they don't strip the wire very well. So I moved past these because I saw my dad had these, and when he was doing his stereo wire and phone wire down in Florida. I like these. They're by Vice Grip. They also have a cutter right in here, and they have some crimpers in here too. So these are nice because it has a little gauge you can push out for adjusting where you want the wire cut and stuff like that. And it also, you put in pretty much any size wire in here. I mean, nothing super thick or super small. And all you do is clamp it down and it'll strip the wire. Next up are different types of wire I use. These three are magnet wire and they come in different gauges. I think these are 18, 24, and 30. They come in different colors. They weren't labeled. But depending on what you're doing, you can use different thicknesses. You can also get scrap wire from stuff, as long as it's not overly thick. But they have, this one's a decent size, and then you get down to like really super skinny. That's really small, but the red is even smaller. This actually comes in handy when you're building a smaller model, like a 1/1000 scale model, to run it through the wings or nacelles or something like that, where you don't have that much room. You can use the magnet wire. Now me, I personally do not use the magnet wire that much. I use it very little. I'm going to show you what I buy and use because I do like the gauge of it, and it's fairly easy to use. Now here's the wire that I use. You're going to be looking at it and be like, what's that? Well, what this is Cat 6 wire that I picked up at Home Depot. It cost me like 80 bucks for the box. The box has 500 feet of wire in it, so you pretty much have wire for a lifetime. And what I like about it is there's 4 strands in here, so you have 4 different wires you can use. I'm going to open this up and I'll show you. So all I use is an X-Acto knife or scissors or some other sharp object to cut the sheathing off. Open it up and just pull it out. Now, like I said, you got 4 braided wires in here. So why I like it too is because it is color coded. If I'm running it to certain things, I can write in my notebook, the blue is for the starboard side lights, the orange is for the port side, this is for the aft, this is for the phasers. I have different colors that I can match up, and I have plenty of wire, and anything I don't use, I throw into the scrap box. But we'll just open this up, and then I want to go back to our wire cutters and show you how those work on this. And again, the wire is not overly thick. That little piece, I have a ton of wire, and like I said, anything I cut off and don't use, I can use again. And I do like the twists. It does keep the wire neat, especially through the ship or car or whatever you may be lighting up. It helps keeping it neat instead of having 2 single strands running everywhere. So let me show you. I'll whip out one of these pieces and I'm going to show you the wire stripper itself. So all I do with the twisted wire is I untwist it to the length I want. Now with the twisted wire, I know it's an extra step, but you do want to take something and just give it a little straightening out, because with the wire strippers, the waves in it make it a little difficult for either wire stripper that I have to strip off the wire. So all we do is we put the wire in. It grabs on it and pulls. Now sometimes it doesn't pull off all the way. All you got to do is grab your fingers with your fingers and pull it off. And it's as simple as that. And we have 2 clean pieces of wire. Very easy with this thing, this guy right here, instead of the other wire stripper. For some reason I never have good luck with that. Sometimes it's really tough getting the plastic off. I do love these guys, and it makes my life easy. Now, one of the most important, if not the most important piece of equipment that I have for lighting is my power source. You can get these on Amazon now, or electronic stores and stuff like that that are specifically deal, you know, with electronics like this that we're doing. But this power source here shows me the voltage plus amps and milliamps that we're using during the build. So it's just a power on. I was just testing a little while ago 12 volt LED strips, so I had it on 12, but I used my fine tuning right there to get it to 12. But this helps me test the circuit. This is what I plug into the panels of the breadboard. This way I have my current flowing through, or my voltage flowing through. This way I can test everything out, and I'll show you real quick how it works. So we're just going to use a regular 3mm round top clear LED, and we're going to use the power leads, the negative and the positive. The longer lead is the positive, but I'm not going to put it onto my leads yet because my voltage is at 12, and I'll blow out this LED because it's not rated for 12. We'll bring it all the way down to 3, and we won't need a resistor on it because this LED can handle 3 volts. And on the longer lead, we're going to put our positive, and on our shorter lead, we're going to put our negative. And it lights up. This is an easy way to test your LEDs to see if they're working or not. And it shows the voltage has gone down to 1.9 or 2, and it's pulling 0.24 milliamps, this little LED right here. We can test other LEDs. I'll shut this off. Now say you have a flashing LED like this one. You could test that also. Now remember, this is going to get a little bit hot while you're playing with it, testing things out. So right now at 3 volts, it's not pulling any milliamps at all. It's not showing any milliamps at all. But now, what I want to show you is if you hook up this and you forget that your power is on something higher, it is just going to blow out your LED. So say if I left this on 12 and put it right on there, you'd get a quick flash and it would be dead. Well, that's it for part 1 of this 3-part series. I thank everybody for stopping by and checking out the video. I hope it was useful, especially to the people that are just getting into model building and getting into lighting up your model. This isn't just for starships or sci-fi stuff. I've seen a lot of military people starting to light up their kits. So if you have any questions or comments, please throw them in the comments section below. I get back to you like that, because as you all know, I have the notifications on my phone and I answer you as quickly as I can. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to come back for parts 2 and 3, which should be up in the week, and I'll see you all then. Have a great night, everybody. Take care, and bye-bye.